Okay, so this is the first video where I actually talk about music, and I thought it would be cool to just talk about music a little bit, and in particular improvising, which basically allows you to just make stuff up, which is, in my opinion, the best use of your time as a musician if you feel that you're wanting to be creative and just wanting to play and have a good time. So anyway, that's essentially what I do. I think that it's a good way to approach the piano, and especially if you don't want to worry about making a mistake or have to worry about memorizing or learning anything. You can just sort of teach yourself, come up with things, and then from there you can just sit down and try to put them together. So I would say, generally speaking, I try to think of the piano just in a very chromatic way. And chromatic meaning every key is included in what you're thinking about. So, for example, the chromatic scale is where you simply play every key. Like so. And it includes every key, and chromatic itself just means colorful. So essentially what you're doing with music is you're playing with color. Color and sound are essentially one in music, and you can create different shades, and as you add a note or add a different texture of some kind, then you're essentially making pictures with sound. And when I improvise, I generally think in terms of a variety of different building blocks. So one thing I like to do that I'll show you in a minute is I'll try to start in one end of the keyboard and then simply make my way up to the other end of the keyboard. And the way I think of the piano is basically as a physical thing that you move around, and you become familiar with it, and you get to know it, and you move around, and you figure out how you can express yourself through the piano. So essentially, once you sit down and you learn more and more about the instrument, then every time you return to that space, you can move around within that world more and more comfortably as time goes on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my right hand, and my right hand's going to move up the keyboard, and it's going to play a little figure. Essentially, it's going to play a figure similar to this, which is just a simple thing. It could be anything. It could be that, it could be this, it could be anything. And you can move it around. So, I mean, that's essentially what the right hand's doing. And you can do it here. You can move it around. And that's kind of how the right hand operates sometimes. As for the left hand is a little bit more free. The left hand can move around as a rhythm section. It can also carry a melody if you want it to. But, with using the pedal, once you employ the pedal, then you can mix sounds, and essentially what you're going to get doing this is kind of an almost impressionistic sound, as it borrows from jazz and also romantic music. So you get something that sounds almost like it could have been composed by Debussy or Ravel or something. So anyway, I'll now come up with a completely improvised section that involves using building blocks that I've used before, but is completely made up on the spot. So here we go. Essentially what I did was I started in the lower part of the piano, and I made my way up here, and I eventually stopped somewhere up top. So there's a sense of musical journey and arc, and that was sort of a musical thought. So I'll do it again, the same kind of thing, just starting at the bottom and moving my way up as a kind of a journey from point A to point B. have to always happen in a straight line. I mean, you could hit this note, you could move up. You could just move up straight linearly and hit every note, or you could move a little bit up and down, then up and down, then up and down, like this. And with the implication of also moving down again. So if you start to think in terms of musical thoughts, moving from one part to the next, to the next, to the next, then you can, start to connect things. So if I move up, then I'm probably going to want to move down again at some point. And also remember that the piano repeats. So you're just looking at repetitions going up, same thing, repeated over and over again. But you're dealing at a different register, it's a different color and different sound, so you can be doing the same thing in different parts of the piano. And it has a different color or tone to it. And you can also be doing different things with your hands. And they don't have to, they can work together as one, but they can also work as separate units. So sometimes the way I think about it is the right hand has its own personality, the thing that it does. And I tend to think of it as very chromatic. And, it likes to move around and it's light. And the right hand portion of the piano tends to be lighter. The keys are not weighted as heavily. So the right hand sometimes can move more quickly. It's also a bit lighter and has a gentler feel to it. The lower register is heavier. The keys are harder to push down. The left hand tends to be more of a bass. Has a resonant feel to it. So, yeah. And also I thought it would be worth going into just to talk a little bit about octaves, which are something I like to use a lot. And basically, an octave is, most people can play an octave. It's just, any two keys, same key. And you're not hitting anything else, you're just hitting same key, one octave apart. But with both hands, you can really cover a pretty big space. And you can move around quickly too with an octave. It gives you a nice full sound. You can move around pretty quickly with an octave if you use, you want to keep your hands sort of relaxed, as much relaxed, somewhere between relaxed and firm. So they're not totally relaxed and they're not totally stiff. So they have some flexibility to them. You should be able to kind of shake them and get all the energy out, and then when you do it, whatever it is, your hands should feel relaxed, but also in control. So with the octaves, you want to use a pinky. On the right hand, you're using your pinky on the white key, and then on the black key, you're going to use your ring finger. And that allows you to really connect things. And same within the left hand. And then, of course, the thumb just handles the rest of it. So by doing that, by covering each key, basically as soon as you hit a key, you move to the next one. Move to the next one. So you move to the next one each time is basically how it goes. I do a lot of that when I play. I try to, as soon as you play something, you're moving on. Once you play, you've already moved. You've already moved. So you play, you're already there. So you can move up the keyboard really quickly. You can move around quickly, and that's the beauty of having a sustain pedal, is it'll hold the note for you. So you can be 100 places at once. also think in terms of pulse. If you're going to hit some note, you want it to be on the downbeat, I guess, sometimes. I mean, you want that to be where the emphasis is. So if you're doing something like this, then you can feel the grouping where the downbeat is, and you can move that around. I like to do that a fair bit, and also try to use the hand. Try to use your hand the way it naturally feels most comfortable. So once you're done here, you want to come in and move the whole hand up. So you're here, you're either here, you're playing in this note row, or you're moving up to the next one, the next one. So moving up. So you're in different positions. You're here and you're in this position. Different position. Two octaves, and then maybe you do something else. Softer part. And I like to borrow little rhythms and things from blues and jazz and, improvisational styles and techniques, while also playing classical, romantic, and Baroque period techniques and sounds. And that's essentially what I do, is I just try to mix different things together. So anyway, let's try to put it all together here, and then I'll play a little bit, and then I'll end the video.